Hi all. Great to be again in the COTI community developer sessions. We are really excited, honestly. As you know, testnet is up. Great news for COTI and great news for the community of those that like private blockchains. It's up and running, and we are really excited to see that some already onboarded it, and we'll talk about it later on. So without further ado, let's get started. So recap from our previous call, we've discussed, in our previous call, we talked about the onboard in details and what's the function of the onboard in the entire ecosystem of the privacy preserving techniques. And I was glad even to get some questions in the background, pinging me, DMing me, and it's great. I like it that the community takes an active participation and asking questions. So for today, we'll focus mostly on testnet. We'll talk about the changes that were done due to testnet, SDK changes. We'll talk about Remix and some Sandbox changes. So as always, we really appreciate feedback. We really value your feedback. Please feel free, ask us anything through the chat, maybe get some participation votes to talk, and feedback is always welcome. So as always, our development resources, docs.coti.io to see all the updated documentation, testnet.cotiscan.io to see the updated transactions and blocks. That's our scanner for testnet. And as always, our COTI.io GitHub is right here. So you guys could check out the latest contracts and SDKs that we publish. Follow us if you really like what we do. Follow us on GitHub. Share. Put a star on your favorite repos. We really hope that you like all of them, and follow us on GitHub. We value your support. So as I mentioned, we'll talk about COTI Testnet, high-level overview on the infrastructure, SDK support, Remix plugin, and developer sandbox. We might not be able to cover the developer sandbox today because we want to focus enough on the Remix plugin. We rather have a deep dive rather and not some surface on the surface. So even if we won't cover it today, we'll cover it in the next session. So COTI Testnet was launched on September 16. What does it mean for devnet? It means that the countdown started. It means that devnet, as great as it is, it demonstrates the capabilities of doing on-chain computation and doing MPC stuff, but it's not MPC capable. It's a single node. Of course, we aim for decentralization and for multiple participants in the computation. So testnet is the future. About the resources, so we'll cover that, all the SDKs and all the things you need to know in order to start using testnet. It's a bit different from devnet, and we'll cover that. And topology. So about the topology, what you see before you is a high-level topology on how the testnet looks like, which basically means we have the full nodes, okay? And we have the full node today. It's the validator. You probably saw it in the uptime.coti.io. It's the node that basically sits there and sends new transactions to be mined by the sequencer, and then gets a copy of the black box that are being produced. So our validator, our full nodes, get the transaction, pass them to the sequencer. The only access to the sequencer is only through the full nodes. It's not accessible publicly because we very much want to protect it and make sure it's not being harassed. So only the full nodes are accessible to query and get the RPC from the sequencer. All the other data are available, of course, through the RPC of the full nodes. So the sequencer will basically generate something we call red block. A red block is basically a block that contains the data. Because we are talking about private data, so it contains the data that was prepared by the user, by the wallet, that contains it encrypted with his AES key. That's sent to the executors who do the multi-party computation, produces a black block that sends back to the sequencer and then gets propagated to the rest of the network. So red blocks are basically blocks that contain the data encrypted by the user, for example, and then black box contains the new data that's encrypted by the networks. That's the difference between the red one and the black one. Now, the executors are working in an MPC manner with the GC, right, with the Garbled Circuits. They are executing the actual circuits. Where are they getting the circuits from? They're getting it from highly available MongoDB that gets the circuit saved by the garbler, a highly available garbler that it's basically a factory for producing new garbling circuits. So in a nutshell, this is how the topology looks like, and this is how it works in high level, where we make sure to have all these services highly available in all kinds of ways. If anyone has any question, feel free to ask, and of course we are available later on to answer those also offline through Discord and so on. I'll move on. So the futures for devnet, basically, I see a question here. I'll switch back to our testnet slide, so it will be corresponded. Pavlo from Czech Republic, greetings to you too. What is the purpose of the testnet, and why is it important to have it before launching mainnet? Oh, that's a great question. So testnet is, it means so much for the blockchain team, for us, because first and foremost, it's a proof of capability. It's our way to demonstrate the project and our capability of executing the project as we mentioned it in all kinds of papers. It's the way we basically describe to the community what's the project. We give them a chance to see it running, to try it out on their own, to develop on top of it. So at first, it's the way we basically launch the project we anticipated and hope to build. It gives the developer a chance to build on top of it and get ready for mainnet. It's a development environment, enabling us to find issues before they reach mainnet. It serves lots and lots of other purposes. Daniel, our product, please share with us more thoughts for Pavlo.
Yes, so I think that from a high-level software development point of view, the purpose of having testnet is to serve as a pre-production environment. So imagine for a second that you're a software developer and you're writing smart contracts and you want to evaluate the behavior and the input and output of your smart contracts and your full stack application. You want to make sure that you can do that in an environment where, number one, there are no users that will be affected by your changes. And number two, the value that is flowing through your smart contracts be it in the form of either the COTI token or a custom ERC20 token on the COTI network, is not real value, but it's basically testnet funds, as we call them, with our tokens that you can get for free, and you use them for development. And you want to make sure that all of the aspects and the requirements of your application are behaving as you expect in testnet. And then once you're sure that everything is buttoned up and ready, then you launch it into mainnet, where users will interact with your smart contracts with actual value, with real world COTI or other ERC tokens that have real value. So it's important to for any blockchain project to have a very well-formed testnet that is that it mimics the behaviors of the mainnet or the production environment. Now, as far as the COTI coins go, maybe Guy, do you want to touch on TGE a bit and migration?
Sure. So for Pavlo's second question about the ability to transfer the COTI coins from the Viper to the new mainnet. Generally, COTI previously published it. Coins will be altered in a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning if you have one COTI on the native trust chain, today's mainnet, you will have the same one in the new mainnet. Regarding the technical procedure on how it will happen, we are still exploring the best possible way to do that without having you guys working hard towards that, giving you the seamless path forward, getting your tokens right away. So we are totally trying to find the best thing, starting like ERC20 conversions, or basically depositing inside the trust chain and then giving you depositing it in the trust chain and giving an ERC20 address that we will create it for you on the new mainnet. We are checking all the options and we will present it once we will have the proper and well-mannered procedure. We will take it also with the thinking group from the community and make sure it's really outfits everyone to the best. Conrad, hi guys from Los Angeles. Hi. Any restrictions for USA users? Restrictions about what exactly? You need to be more specific. Maybe we could get back to your questions later on. Sony, I understand that the testnet is used to test all features before they go live in production, that this means mainnet hasn't been fully developed yet. Or is it developed and you're just waiting for the flip once it's confident? So, see, the testnet journey there, Sonny, is basically, it's a journey because you have one release of the testnet where you feel confident, and then you want to make sure everything fits everyone and it's really running, and you took everything under consideration, and you are basically, as Daniel mentioned it, it's a pre-production environment. You're testing it, you're making sure everything is running. On devnet, which is a totally development environment, we had few occasions that we had outage due to defects. So testnet might have that also, even though it shouldn't, even though we are much more confident and it's much more resilient. Everything could happen and we make sure it won't because we test it enough, but that's one of the main purposes of testnet also, to serve as an environment before we launch, to give our users the full security to launch their applications on top of it and see for themselves how secure and mature it is. Anyone from the team wants to add something on testnet versus mainnet? Please share your thoughts. So if there are no other questions, let me go through with the rest of the... Okay, I see Conrad asked us again. Following COTI from the early days and Viper wallet, nodes and staking was for Europe only, not available for the US for legal reasons. That's correct. Just wondering if testnet and developer feature have similar legal restrictions. I might have to get back on that, Connor. Feel free to ping me over Discord. I'm under the name of Guy COTI. I have some information, but I want to make sure I'm giving you the full information, and that's fully incorrect. So let's keep up on that over Discord, and I'll make sure you'll get all of that.
I will give one general statement on testnets overall. And basically the law states that if you're not trading actual value, so like testnet is not trading actual values, just testnet tokens that have no value, there should be no restrictions. As with any other projects that have global restrictions, you see them only on mainnet. Testnet and the developer resources shouldn't have any. And again, take this as a general statement for all blockchain projects.
Yeah. Sorry, so if I understand you correctly, mainnet is not yet developed, but will flow from testnet. See, mainnet is basically developed. I mean, you can say that mainnet is a fork of the testnet, right? It's the same code. But before we come up and say mainnet is ready, like any other project, we have to completely run all of our tests, and we want the community to take part in the testnet. We want everyone to get a kick inside the testnet and test it out enough to make sure it's as stable and as secured as everyone wants it to be. Kai, all testnet is going down. I saw a little glimpse on post. Yes, that's correct. We've previously announced it, that by October 1st, COTI V1, also known as Trust Chain Testnet, will be sunset. That's correct. So anyone that has a testnet V1 node can by October 1st take it down. And very, very soon we will publish our procedure on joining COTI V2 testnet node operator. So just a few more lines here that I want to go over. DevNet, so sunset schedule. We know that COTI DevNet will be sunset approximately, Daniel, product. When did we discuss? Around the end of October?
Tentatively towards the end of October will be the sunset schedule for DevNet. Yeah. So it would be a great time for any resources that you have on DevNet and any code that you have running on DevNet to transition it to testnet and only use testnet going forward.
Yes, that's and as Daniel mentioned, so tooling support. So all the SDKs that are basically lower version than 1.0 are for DevNet. DevNet and testnet have differences, and Eitan will go over that in a few bits. But just be aware. SDKs that are lower version than 1.0 are for DevNet, and 1.0 and higher are for testnet. So transition to use testnet going forward. I saw lots of activity on DevNet actually recently, and all the team are really happy about that DevNet gets the tires going. But now it's already the time to move to testnet, because that's the future. It's the computed MPC, right? We want to keep things a lot more secure. So the differences between the SDKs are really, really rather small. The transition for you guys probably won't be that big. If it is, if you feel it is, let us know, because we will help you make the adjustments. We are very much available. You can tag anyone from the team here on Discord, and we will be super happy to answer all the questions and help you kick the tires with the testnet. Daniel, help me out here if you want to take it forward.
So with the launch of testnet, there are developer resources that you can make use of today to enhance your use of testnet, and some of this matches DevNet and some of this is new. So the faucet URL and how you reach it is going to be the same. It's faucet.coti.io, And here, it's going to be the same Discord channel that you use for devnet. And basically, you have to prepend testnet to your request along with your wallet address, and then the funds will be deposited to testnet. No change in functionality there, change in the name that you have to use for the specific network. Explorer, now we have a new nomenclature for the COTI Explorer, which will simplify things and prepare us for mainnet launch. So we prepend the network name to our main URL, and it's going to be cotiscan.io. So if you are doing any workloads on devnet, you can use the same, just prepend it with devnet.cotiscan.io. And the Explorer for testnet, as you see here, is testnet.cotiscan.io. It's going to be the same tool that you already know and love, so you should be familiar with its functionality already. And yeah, if you have any feedback or any features that you like to see there, you're more than welcome to send us a message on Discord. This is something that we are continuously trying to enhance. So testnet.cotiscan.io.
If you want to open some links, just let me know, Daniel. I'll be happy.
Yes, for this next one, it would be great. So we have this very cool feature called the Uptime Dashboard, which you can find it at uptime.coti.io. And it basically gives you a snapshot on the status of all the components of the testnet network. So Guy was just going over the topology of testnet, and he was mentioning the garbler, the sequencer, the executor, the validator. So here you will see the health of each one of those pieces of the network. And here the validators will be the full node. So as new nodes join the network, you're going to see the health of the full nodes here as well. So this is very useful for future node operators to keep an eye on as you gauge the health and the performance of your node. And it's also a great tool to troubleshoot any problems that you have with your smart contracts. I know that, when developing smart contracts, the first thing that we think of is, there's probably something in my code that's not making it work. A lot of times there may be a problem on the network. So this is a good troubleshooting resource for that as well. So it's available at uptime.coti.io. Right now you will see it for testnet. And of course, as we get closer to mainnet, you will see a resource for mainnet as well. Okay, so for developer resources, Guy touched on this briefly, and he mentioned how for devnet, the SDKs that are going to work for you are going to be version below 1.0. And so for testnet, and this is what we encourage you to use going forward, the SDKs that will work for you are going to be versions greater or equal to 1.0. So please make sure that when you're using the SDK, you're using the right version. If you're on testnet, you're always going to be safe if you use the latest version, if you're using either on Python or TypeScript. Some of the resources that we talked about, Explorer and Uptime, we already discussed, so I won't hash over them again, and we can move on.
For the changes,
okay.
Yes.
Everyone.
Sharing, or are you planning to share? Or
I will share. I will share my screen in a second, and
I'll stop sharing.
Okay, share. Able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a bit small. If we could make it larger, that'd be great.
Let me try that. Maybe I will.
Maybe under the view menu or something. Or you can just start and...
Let's see, appearance.
You got increased font size there in the view. Okay.
Better?
Perfect. Looks great.
Okay.
No, it's back now. It's back now.
Okay.
Try again.
Appearance. Okay.
It looks fine.
No, it's okay. Okay, so everyone, my name is Ethan. I'm from the development team. I will introduce a little bit the MPC core changes that we made on testnet. The biggest change here in the MPC core is the change in the get user key. Before of that, in devnet, if you are onboarding an account, basically to get the AES key that you need to use to this is the keys that you are using on the COTI network. On devnet, when you wanted to onboard an account, the event that created or emitted for you is containing only the only one encrypted key. Currently, the event is emitted for two keys, which you need to now I can show in the examples. It will be more clearer. So when you're doing onboard, you are getting two keys now, and you can see the change. 1 second on the. Sorry, I opened it before, but I jumped to another place. Okay, so the change in get user key, you basically you can see all the contracts, but now it returned two shared keys. That the final the final key that you need to use is a XOR operation between those two keys. So in order to make the life more easier, we enhance the COTI SDK, both also the TypeScript and the Python SDKs, basically to support this operation. So instead of just decrypting the previous AES key using your private RSA key, now you are decrypting each part of the key and doing XOR operation between those two keys. So this is basically one. From my point of view, this is the biggest change that has been done in the MPC core, except of the get user key. We created a method to delete the user key. This is new in testnet, and another let's call it a big change is in the add operation, sub operation, and the multiply operation. In devnet, when you did some I don't know multiply operation between two numbers, if the result is an how can I call it? It's an overflow. If the result of the multiplication is sorry.
If the result itself caused an overflow, basically in the data type.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say you're multiplying two data type of 8 bits, and the result is more than 8 bits. Basically, before in devnet, you get wrong result because you didn't know that the overflow was happened. So we enhanced the functionality. Now we keep the add operation, but we created checked add operation. This method is returning a Boolean data type of overflow bit. It can be 0 or 1. If it's 1, everything is okay. If it's 0, everything is okay. The operation didn't cause any overflow. If it's 1, the operation caused overflow and the result is wrong. Basically, you cannot use it. So we have one for the add operation, one for the sub, and one for the multiply. All those three operations can cause a data type overflowing. I think that's it from the MPC point of view.
Great.
So guys, just remember, if you are using the pre-deploy account on board, you just need to XOR the 2 keys that you receive from there.
But basically, we already covered it for you on the SDKs, so we should be okay even without doing it yourself. It's the code is already there.
Yes.
Thanks,
You just need
Eitan.
to use it.
Great presentation. Let me share back and continue our deck. Thanks. So, Remix, Spencer, I hope everyone had a chance to see Spencer's video. If you didn't, it's a must-see thing. And Spencer, go ahead. Give us a live overview over the plugin.
Sure, that sounds great. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes, cool. I will share my screen. Everyone can see my screen, right?
Looks good.
Okay. The font is big enough? Yeah?
Looks great.
Okay, great. So just to remind everybody, my name is Spencer. I'm the lead developer working on the Remix plugin. And I will give you guys a little demo just from a high level of how the plugin works and just a small example of how you might use it in your own workflows. So the first thing that you want to do is to install the plugin. So if you look on the bottom left corner of the Remix IDE, you find the plugin manager. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll find the COTI Remix plugin right here. So you just want to click on Activate. And just like that, it's installed. You'll see the icon show up on the left-hand menu bar. Sure, the plugin is just asking if it's okay to write to the file system in the Remix plugin. So I've already set up my wallet, but what we can do instead is connect with a temporary wallet that the plugin will create for you. So in the environment tab, you'll just want to click on the environment dropdown, and you could click on manual mode. Here there will be a request from the Remix IDE if it's okay to write to the file system. So it's just going to store the private key of the newly created wallets for you. So you could just click on accept. Actually, I'll just click remember, and you could open the file system and look at the file that we created for you. So you just see that it created a wallet for me. Cool. Created 2 wallets for me, actually. Great. So just for convenience, I'm going to fund these wallets out of my own, from my own wallet, just quickly, just to save time. Hello. Sorry about that. I couldn't do it in advance because I didn't know the address of the wallets that would be created. Okay, great. That'll take a second to confirm. Yeah, you could see my balance of the first wallet has already updated. So before I talk a little bit about the contract that I prepared, this example contract, the first thing that you might want to do when you're working with the plugin or in general with the COTI network is to perform the onboarding procedure. So I won't go to too much detail about what is onboarding, but basically it is the way that you will receive your encryption key in order to pass encrypted data to the chain and also to decrypt data from the chain that was encrypted with your key. So to do that, to perform the onboarding procedure using the plugin, you'll just want to click on the onboarding tab on the left side. And since we haven't already performed the onboarding procedure, it will ask us to perform it. Because I'm using the manual wallet, you won't see any MetaMask pop-ups. You'll just see logs in the console down here. So you can see we received the AES key for the first wallet. I'll actually go ahead and also onboard the second wallet that I created. And what you'll see is that all the private keys and the encryption keys for the wallets that you're working with the Remix plugin will be saved in your Remix file system. And the plugin will be able to just load everything the next time that you open the plugin. Great, so now that we have 2 wallets to work with, I can proceed with the example that I prepared for you guys. So this is a really simple contract that illustrates just some of the unique features of the COTI network. So essentially what the contract does is it stores a encrypted number, and the number is encrypted with the encryption key of the caller, the person that is updating the value of the encrypted number. To update the value of the encrypted number, we have 2 functions. The first one accepts a clear value, a regular number, as input. It will encrypt the value using the key of the caller and store it in storage. The second version of the function is very similar, except the main difference is that it accepts an encrypted value as input. So the value is already encrypted using the key of the caller, and then it will be stored again using the key of the caller. So say you wanted to deploy this contract, then you would open the compile and deploy tab of the Remix plugin. And first you would click on compile, and it takes a second for the compiler to do its thing. And then you want to make sure that you select the right contract to deploy, because there can be potentially more than one. So we'll just make sure that we click the right one and simply hit deploy. And that will take a second. Sorry, my headphones disconnected.
It's okay, we are still hearing you pretty good, so no problems.
Just a second. Is it better without the headphones? Should I not bother reconnecting them?
It's fine. We can hear you anyhow.
Sounds crisp and clear.
Okay, I reconnected them anyway. Sorry about that. Okay, great. So what you'll notice if you open, after deploying a contract, you can open the Interact tab. And what you'll find here is a drop-down for each contract that you've deployed. So we've deployed just one, and so we have one drop-down. We can open it here, and automatically generated for you are nice input forms for each of the functions that the contract has. So not sure what happened there. Okay, so just to start off, we can see the value of our encrypted number, our secret number. We see that it's 0 because we never set it. So let's go ahead. We'll start with something more simple, and we'll set the value of the secret number using the function that accepts a clear value. So we can put, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit transact. And up until now, you might already be thinking this, everything is working exactly in the same way that the standard Remix Interact tab is working. We didn't, as far as contract interactions go, we didn't really do anything that is so particular to the COTI network, and that's great because we haven't really taken advantage of any of the privacy features. But that we'll start to get into that right now. So now that we've set the value of the secret number, the next thing that we would want to do is to read it back. So I will call the secret number function, which will return it back to me. And you get the value, that's the expected value here, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you notice on the side here is this blue button. And this button appears because the return type of this function is an encrypted type. And the Remix plugin recognizes this. And so what it does is it will automatically decrypt the return value. So even though the return value is meant to be encrypted, the plugin itself is automatically attempting to decrypt it for you. And if you want to, if you're interested, you can click this button to view the encrypted value. So I'll just open it up here. You can see that we have the decrypted value, which is as expected, and we have the encrypted value, which is this huge number.
Spencer, I'll just throw in a word there just to make sure everyone are aligned. The value saved on the blockchain is encrypted, right? It's just that the plugin reads the value from the blockchain and then decrypts it locally using the ES key saved in the configuration file.
Yes, exactly. This is the encrypted value is the value that is stored on chain. Great. And we can decrypt it locally using our encryption key. Now,
Spencer, maybe you could show everyone that when you call the set secret number with the input of 1, 2, 3, 4, the hash that you see there on screen, if you go to the Explorer, you could see that the transaction data got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we could compare it to the second secret number showing it's encrypted. Show them that basically it was sent encrypted on chain.
Sure. Good idea.
Just go to devnet.cotiscan.io. I see a question from Conrad. What's the maximum payload size in bits for the encrypted or decrypted and stored on-chain? That's a very interesting question because we got it also from one of our partners. Basically, we can come up and say, Conrad, it depends on how you decide to model your data types, because very soon we will introduce fully capable string manipulation that you can store whole strings on-chain managed by arrays. And it's just the amount of gas that you're willing to put out to manage your data, that's the only consideration. You can input as many strings as you want using the array. It's just up to you. So Spence, is this the transaction?
Yeah, so this is the page on the Explorer for the transaction we just executed. So you can see here, this is the transaction input. Of course, it's in hex, so hexadecimal format that is. So what we can do is just convert it quickly, and you'll see that the value is as expected, 1234, 1234. Great.
So what you want to say here basically is, here is an example how we send data, clear data, which you can see that when the contract got called, it's clear data on the blockchain. The data got sent clear, but saved encrypted. So the block, inside the block, it's clear, but on the chain itself, on the tip of the chain, it's encrypted.
Yes, exactly. And just for fun, what we can do, just to prove that it's really encrypted on chain, is we can switch over to the other account that we created and onboarded. And we can try to call this function again. And we'll see what the value we get. Keep in mind, the Remix plugin will automatically try to decrypt the result. And so as you might expect, that this other user, some other user whose encryption key was not used to encrypt the value, cannot in fact decrypt. And they have the same exact encrypted value as the other user. This is, again, this is the value stored on chain, but after they try to decrypt it, they get a completely different result. So I'll just switch back to the original account. Great. And we can call this again, see if we get 1234. Cool. So now what I want to try to do is to, again, update the value of the secret number, but this time we'll pass an encrypted value to the function. So what this means is that the value that we pass into this function will not be visible to other users of the network. People watching the transactions on the chain will not actually be able to even know the value that we passed. So what's important to know here is that when we're looking at the input of this function, we see that the type is ITUint64. And I won't go into too much detail about writing privacy, smart contracts with privacy enabled features. Sorry, but this is one of our encrypted data types. So when you see ITUint64 or any of the other encrypted data types, you know that this is an encrypted input. Now, for convenience, the Remix plugin, since it's aware of what type you're passing in, it will automatically encrypt it for you. So you don't need to worry about how to encrypt the data. All you need to do is pass in the value that you want to use in clear form, and it will be encrypted locally and then passed into the function, to the transaction as a parameter. So let's say, for example, we want 54321. Again, the Remix plugin will automatically encrypt it for you. So let's hit transact and we'll see what happens. So immediately you notice that this blue button appears on the text input when we press transact. And notice that on the first text input, there's no blue button. This is because it's not an encrypted data type. So the blue button appears automatically. And we could see this is the value we passed in, the decrypted value. And the value that is actually passed on chain is this encrypted value here. And now we can call the function to read back the secret number and see if we get the expected result, which we do. So that's great. And again, we can look at the value that is stored on chain and see that it's some encrypted number, very large number.
What is the number that was saved on the block? It was sent encrypted, right? So on the block itself, if you look on the transaction, what will we see on the block? Let's take a look on the Explorer.
Sure. So what is when you pass an encrypted value into a function, what you actually are passing are two things. First, you have the encrypted value, and secondly, there's a signature that is used to make sure that this value will not be reused by some other person who's watching the chain. So there's really two values that are provided when you're working with encrypted inputs. And again, the Remix plugin is handling everything for you. You just input the clear value and hit transact. So I believe the first value is the encrypted value. I don't know exactly how many zeros to include, so I won't try to convert it to decimal. But basically, what you see here are the two values. In the first transaction, we saw there was one, and here you could see there are clearly two values. There's one that's about here. There can be some trailing zeros. I'm not exactly sure. And then here we have the signature.
We can clearly see that the value is too long to represent 54321 in hex. So that's basically
certainly.
Yeah, that's basically the encrypted value on chain. So up until now, we saw one value that gets sent clear text, saved on the block as clear but encrypted on chain, and here is a block on the block encrypted and also on the chain encrypted, keeping you private the whole way.
Yes, exactly. So I guess that mostly wraps up this small demo of the Remix plugin. I just want to reiterate one of the most important features when working with the Remix plugin is to know that the plugin will automatically encrypt encrypted inputs and decrypt encrypted outputs for you. So when you see that let's say the input type is one of our encrypted data types, all you need to do is write the clear value, and the plugin will take care of the encryption for you. And similarly, when reading outputs, the plugin, when you see a return type that is an encrypted type, the plugin will automatically try to decrypt it for you. Yeah, that's it. That wraps up the demo.
That's a cool plugin, Spencer.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a cool plugin. Guys, all of you that are developing contracts to the COTI system, we would love if you get a chance, play around with the plugin, tell us what you think. Maybe some features are missing. Maybe you think we need to change. We will appreciate any feedback. Thanks, Spence. So let me share back my screen. So our feedback repo is a COTI Remix plugin that you see on screen. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss anything, feel free to open a PR or an issue or reach us over Discord. We will love to get connected. We wanted also to talk about the Sandbox today. The Sandbox is basically the environment where we best showcase the use of the DPF, data privacy framework, that we are going to introduce extensively soon, and the on-chain database. But since we have only 6 minutes to go, I don't think we will be able to cover it in details like we wanted. So we'll keep that for the next session. We are always happy to have more things to talk about. Feedback. As always, we treasure your feedbacks, GitHub issues, Discord, Telegram, however you guys want it. To send it to us, we want to get it. Talk to us, give us your feedback, tell us what's easier and what's harder to do over our network, and we'll make sure that everything will work out great. Privacy is the future in blockchains. We know that. We like everyone to join our journey, and we are doing everything we can to make sure it will be the easiest ride to take. Daniel? Some of the builder program.
So one more thing that I wanted to point out about the Sandbox is the fact that it's now live, so you can completely check it out on your own and then drop us feedback once you use it. It will allow you to do a lot of the things that you saw on the SDK, like onboarding, creating an AES key. But if you're, let's say, are not a developer or not that comfortable with Remix, you're going to be able to do it in a very friendly GUI where you can just click around and move forward. So it's a very cool resource to explore the COTI network. And that's at sandbox.coti.io. So very easy to get to as well. So yes, I wanted to touch a bit on how you can get involved from a community standpoint. We have plenty of RFP opportunities that are out there that have not been realized yet. And I don't mean that we have published on our end, but I mean that those are ideas that you could bring to COTI, where you could make your project a reality through a grant. So let's say if you have a very cool idea about an implementation of the privacy preserving aspects of COTI for your dApp, we welcome you to apply for a grant. If you have an idea on how to extend developer tooling, you can also do that through a grant. If you have an idea on how to create a very cool video, let's say for YouTube, that it's an overview of how to encrypt and decrypt data, even if it's a very short and small video, you can apply for a grant as well. So grants cover a very wide spectrum of opportunities. So you can always check them out, and that's part of our Builders program. The Builders program is not only for development-focused opportunities, but it can be for a number of things. Like I mentioned, it could be for media, it could be for education, it could be for developer tooling. So it could be for a wide number of projects. And you can get to this Builders program site to check it out in more detail in a couple of ways: through our documentation at docs.coti.io, We have a very nice link on the left side there. And very soon, just build.coti.io will get you here as well. So check it out. And, those are easy ways to get involved.
Thanks, Daniel. Great tips. So we got questions before that, and if anyone has any other questions, what we presented, generally anything else, we'll love to answer. And if not, we actually managed to get it done right in time. Thank you all for joining another developer session. In about 2 weeks, there will be another session. We try to make sure to have them exactly every 2 weeks, taking questions and letting you guys know about the latest thing that we are building and that we are working on to get early feedback as always. So stay COTI and see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.